What's up, everybody? We are
Hold
live
on,
yet
let the intro
again.
go. Let the intro go.
Listen to us live on Facebook.
You put the music on and nobody can hear us. Go ahead, Stuart.
You know, if it was a professional broadcast, we would laugh about it. And it's not a professional broadcast, and we're still just going to laugh about it. Listen, it is Friday. It's 12 o'clock, December 10th. And for all of you that are listening, David is not wearing a jacket today. He's wearing a chinchilla. Listen, you know, let's get back to the topic at hand. We're talking about Olympics. We're talking about athletes that spend a lifetime trying to get into this competitive contest, the contest of all contests, the race above all races, where athletes and countries rise or fall. David, I used to be an athlete, and I can understand the athlete's perspective. But yeah, we're talking about how countries are unilaterally boycotting Olympics.
Hold on.
And hang on. And the next thing is, why are we having Olympics in countries that have the risk of being boycotted? Which is another question we're not even on.
Absolutely. But let's go back to really the point at hand here.
Well, I was going to actually hand the conversation over to you.
Thanks
when
a lot.
I finished my monologue about going, you know, again, trying to stay on topic for all of you that know that I don't stay on topic. David, let's talk about it.
Here's the reality, okay? Stuart, you and I are old enough to remember 1980 and 1984.
Yep.
1980 Summer Olympics, the United States and the rest of the Western world boycotts Russia.
Yep.
Soviet Union at the time because of their invasion of Afghanistan. How ironic, but okay. And then to retaliate in 1984 Summer Olympics, the Soviet bloc did the same thing to the Western countries. And what turned into, for both of those sectors, was those were the greatest Summer Olympic Games ever. And since then, there hasn't been a big block of boycott. I know that there were in Montreal, there was a boycott back in '76 by one country. It happens here and there, whatever. But here's the crux of the whole thing: is what's going on. China's human rights is for the pits. Okay.
Really? I would never know if you listen to, you know, of NBA players, if you listen to the Biden administration, you would never know that China
it's not true.
Has any issues.
Oh, that's not true, because, you know, the former president of the United States who brought it up with his red hair and his this and all that. Look, guys, the truth of the matter is that the world is chicken shit of China. You could see it. You could feel it. And the Uyghurs in China are being discriminated. They're a Muslim minority. They've been sent to concentration camps. If you don't toe the party line, you are discriminated. You are sent to concentration camps for rehabilitation. It's known. And God help if they want to bring it up to the United Nations, and God help if they want to do sanctions, because you can't. It's China. President Trump actually slapped China across the face, and the world kind of held their breath. And look, it worked. But of course, like every other administration, the Biden administration is chicken of China, despite the fact that he said, are
they chicken or are they profiting?
No, both. But the point is that the Biden administration said they're going to stand up to China. And they did. And so here's what's happening right now is we have an Olympics coming in 2022. It's around the corner. And I'm not for, telling the Olympic athletes they shouldn't go. But you know what, folks? Here's the problem I got. When you're sitting here and you're going, we're just going to do a diplomatic boycott where we're the leaders of the United States, UK, Canada, Australia, and so on, Japan are saying, oh, no, we're not going to attend the Beijing Games. We're going to boycott it, but we're going to let our athletes go. Folks, at the end of the day, China just said, they don't care. They actually laughed. First of all, the reaction was, nobody invited you. Then the second reaction was, you're going to pay the price. I mean, imagine that China sits there, Stuart, and says, you're going to pay the price for an Olympic boycott.
Oh, John Kerry, how much money is he making?
Listen, I have no idea. But and again, you're diverting. But the point is that the United States, Canada, UK, listen, we know that these countries can't do anything about the United States. But the United States, the Biden administration, Stuart, once again, has proven that they have no intestinal fortitude when it comes up to China. It has no desire to do what's right, and human rights violations will continue in China. And this is why I called it the farce. This diplomatic Olympic boycott that these Western leaders are thinking that is going to make a difference, Stuart, ain't going to do squat.
You know, David, again, any boycott really doesn't accomplish much. And I don't know what politician wants to travel to China with COVID. So I think maybe the optics of it being because of boycotting China, or is it because of they just don't want to go to China in the middle of a pandemic? So I think it's all very funny. And but again, the athletes pay the ultimate price when their countries do boneheaded dick moves. Listen, where's LeBron James? Where is LeBron James?
No. We're not going there. No, we're not going there. Stick to governments, for God's sake.
I am.
LeBron
James likes to be like this very authoritative guy.
Last week, we talked about this. LeBron James and the NBA are getting serious, whatever you want to call it, from China. They desperately want China. They need China for their fucking shoes and their money and this and that. We know that. Excuse my language. But the governments that claim, this is the hypocrisy. The liberal attitude is, God help the poor people. God help the people who can't help themselves. We cried. We pretended to cry for Afghanistan. That was bullshit. Now we're pretending to cry about the Uyghurs in China. This whole business of these diplomatic, this is why I call it a farce. It's not real. It's bull. It has no teeth to it. For God's sakes, to tell me that Joe Biden, Justin Trudeau, the rest of the Western leaders aren't going to travel to Beijing for the games, and that's going to make a difference.
Yeah. Listen. I think that the only way this means something is if they actually did something. How about corporate sponsorship boycotting? But they won't. It's impossible.
They won't.
No.
Many
of these companies are partially owned by Chinese corporations. How could they do this?
But the thing is that I'm not suggesting that there should be an Olympic boycott. I don't get me wrong. I would hate to see the athletes, like you said, who work their whole lives to try to get to this point. It could be their one opportunity in their whole lives. I don't want to hurt the athletes. But don't shovel this as being, we're standing up to China by saying, I'm not going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars flying to Beijing for the Olympics as a leader, and that's going to teach the premier of China a lesson.
Listen, as a taxpayer, I'm actually happy that Biden and his cronies ain't going to China. It saved taxpayers at least $5 to $20 million, all these idiots. I mean, I think it's a great thing. I think politicians should never go to the Olympics unless it's in their city. Because the whole point is it costs us millions of dollars. Trudeau, he didn't want a free vacation to go to China. He wants to instead go to Tahiti and put on his black shoe polish.
The thing is that, do you go totally off the rails?
Well, no, politicians boycotting, reasons why, it makes sense.
The thing is, only in your world. The thing is that that these politicians are trying to pretend, and that's the thing, they're trying to pretend that they actually care about human rights. They don't. They really don't. Okay, if they really did, there would be economic sanctions on China.
But what's really funny is, the French are not joining in on this boycott. But you know who else is not joining in on the boycott? Israel. Israel's not getting involved.
But you think listen, put it this way. Because the boycott's bullshit. It means nothing. And again,
I agree.
To say that, that the president of France is not going to go to Beijing for the opening, who cares? Who cares? It means zip. That's what I'm saying. This means nothing. In what world, Stuart, in what world is this make a difference? That if Joe Biden doesn't go to Beijing, how does this help people who are in need because they're being violated by Chinese officials? You know, we talked about this, the athlete last week she disappeared. And again, no one said
But
boo.
we're not talking about tennis players. I mean, that's the reason why, one of the reasons why. But again, I'm not so sure that there's any sense with them claiming any type of boycott. I just think we're wasting our breath on it. I think that there's no political fortitude by any of these clowns in office in any country to do anything with China. And China's going like this. Fuck you.
Yeah,
They don't care.
But that's what it is. China is laughing at the world, saying, oh, yeah, come at me. Now, your point that you said earlier was interesting. Why did China get the games? They just got it not that long ago. Problem is, nobody wants the games anymore. The Olympic Games are too expensive.
I don't know. I just think they just didn't want to give it to the U.S. I mean, that was the bottom line.
Stuart, and
who wants to go to Canada?
The IOC, spoken like a true fucking American, the IOC really has no care. Like they're going to say, we're not a political body. We're apolitical. But you know what? It's the IOC, it's FIFA. These governments, these guys are looking for the money. And Beijing, China was ready to pay for the Olympics. Why? They're just the same reason why it went into Russia in 2014. Why did it go to Sochi? Simple, Stuart. The guy paid a ton of money to show off to the world. China's doing the same thing. They're just flipping the bird to the rest of the world. So these Olympic boycotts, take it or leave it. You don't want to listen. You don't want to come as a diplomat. Don't come. You don't want to send your athletes? Don't send your athletes. China doesn't care. This is a propaganda
thing. For today, I'm actually going to agree with you.
Oh, what a concept. I think that at this point where I'm really frustrated with all of these Western governments, and we're talking about every one of them who said, oh, we're going to diplomatically boycott. Guys, don't waste your breath. Don't waste our tax money either, but don't waste your breath. It's meaningless.
You know what, David? I'm looking at the news stream, right? I'll just add the source here. And I gotta be honest with you, it's not even anything in the last hour. It's all days old. Reuters, CNN, Vox, BBC. It's all yesterday's news. It's already gone and over.
But it's actually not over yet, because you know what? There are people, there are organizations, there are ex-Chinese Pats who want the world to wake up and do something with China. And the American government, who should be leaders in the world, once again proved how ineffective it is as a leader. They criticized Trump for being terrible on the international scale. And I'm going to tell you that since the Obama administration, there has been zero leadership in the White House. I am sorry. Standing up to China, which Trump did, he did it. I don't love everything he did. I don't care for a lot of things that Trump did. But when it came up to standing up to China, he stood up. He took the first steps to try to affect change. And Mr. Biden has taken it back to the Obama administration, where we've seen what he's doing in Iran. We're seeing what he's doing in other places. And China, once again, it's, the old expression, don't ask me to jump, just how high do you want me to jump? And in this case, how he wants, basically China wants the world at their knees. And you know what? They're going to win.
I got to interrupt you. We're at the end of the quarter hour. And I got to tell you, people are getting bored with us just being too nice and fluffy. I got a complaint that we're being too nice and fluffy and not hard enough.
To whom?
Now, I don't know. You added a couple profanity words today, and so did I. I wonder if I'm going to get the same reaction from these people.
I'm just curious, because the people that I talk to tell me, finally, you're talking about what I want to talk about. And I got to tell you, the number of fans we've had over the last couple of months has gone up quite a bit. I want to thank everybody who's been joining us either live or recorded. We really appreciate your participation.
Yeah, the downloads. We love it. You keep
You got-
downloading it. It looks good. But we like more likes, but we understand your apprehension on being pigeonholed with two clowns like us. And the
No,
reactions that
you're
may
not worried
have.
about being. It's not about being pigeonholed with clowns like us. Don't be afraid. Your friends, your real friends will understand. It's your fake friends, and let's not confuse those fake Facebook friends of yours that really want to turn the world upside down. I got to tell you, folks, this is part of the problem. This liberal mindset is hurting folks. It's time to speak up. And on speaking of speaking down, we're out of here. Have yourselves all a great weekend. We'll see you all Monday. Enjoy. Take care.